Hi, everyone. I'm Courtney Bigony, and I am so excited to introduce the Modern Human Potential Movement and share how tech companies are unlocking human potential at work and beyond. And in order to talk about unlocking human potential, we first need to zoom way out and take a long view of history. Because in order to solve the world's greatest problems, we need to start with an accurate understanding of the world. And despite what most people think, the data shows that we are living in the most prosperous time in human history. People are living longer than ever before. If you were born 200 years ago, you'd most likely live till the age of 30, maybe 40 if you're lucky. Now people are easily living past 70 years old. Education has vastly improved around the world. 200 years ago, only an elite 10% of people could read or write. Now that figure is over 90%. We're seeing massive medical advancements and innovation, meaning we are not only reducing the prevalence of diseases, we are actually eradicating them. With the rise of the internet, people have access to the world's information instantly from almost anywhere on Earth. There are almost 8 billion people in the world, and over 3.5 billion of us are online. Research shows that IQ is increasing globally. This is called the Flynn effect, and it's due to increased exposure to education and access to technology. Over the past 200 years, more and more women have participated in the workforce. This is both good for women and it is good for business. And the feminist revolution has been the only peaceful revolution in human history. Despite what many people think, working hours have actually decreased. If you were born 200 years ago, you would work a grueling 70 hours a week, 50 weeks a year. And now people are working 40 hours a week. We're seeing the rise of the 4-day work week. People are taking more time off for holidays and vacations. And these are just a couple of examples showing how the world has objectively gotten so much better over time in so many ways. But subjectively, people are feeling so much worse. Depression is on the rise and is projected to be the leading cause of disease by 2030. This is just 8 short years away. And anxiety has always been high. This is called the progress paradox. How can the world objectively get so much better over time, yet subjectively we feel so much worse that emotional energy is at an all-time low? People are experiencing low emotional energy both at work and in life. So depression is characterized by low energy, lack of interest, and lack of enjoyment. And these are the same indicators of disengagement at work: low energy, lack of interest, and lack of enjoyment. But if you are depressed, if you are anxious, if you are disengaged, if you are burned out, you are not weak, you are not crazy, you are a human being with unmet needs. And luckily, science names our needs. And science shows that basic needs are the nutriments that are essential for ongoing growth and well-being. So needs do not equal well-being. Needs are the environment and the conditions that lead to well-being. And thanks to Martin Seligman, the father of positive psychology, we now have a science of well-being. We now have a science of what it means to thrive. And Abraham Maslow was one of the first to suggest that we have a hierarchy of needs. And he developed his theory of self-actualization, which became popular in the 60s at Esalen, which is the birthplace of the human potential movement. But on June 8, 1970, Abraham Maslow died at the age of 62 before he was able to finish his theory of self-actualization. And in a journal entry 3 years before his passing, he writes, "I just don't feel up to writing all the things I feel I ought to. The world needs my duties. I don't have the stamina." So the thought is, save it all in little memos in these journals, and the right person to come will know what I mean and why it must be done. Well, that person was Scott Barry Kaufman, leading researcher on creativity, human intelligence, and self-actualization, who found Maslow's unfinished manuscripts and finished his theory with the latest science to help us understand what it means to be self-actualized in the 21st century. And Scott, who refers to Maslow as a dear friend he's never met, is exactly who Maslow would have wanted to finish his story. 2 years ago, we partnered with Scott to create the Human Potential Index, which is currently the most complete measure of human potential for tech creators. So we looked at all the needs, skills, behaviors, mindsets, anything central to human thriving, and we turned it into a single measurement. And when it comes to human thriving, the constructs in the Human Potential Index are timeless. They all matter, and they will always matter for this generation and every generation to come. And tech companies can use the Human Potential Index to unlock human potential at scale by designing technology aligned to the science of thriving. Steven Pinker, he's one of the greatest intellectuals of our time. He defines human progress as the application of information to achieve the betterment of humankind. And tech companies can apply the latest science to their technology to help humanity thrive. So imagine a world with workplace software that truly unlocks psychological safety and purpose and transforms managers into positive and conscious leaders. I imagine a world where technology is good for you, designed with leading science and your best interests in mind. And with that, I'm excited to introduce positive product design, which is a new method for building technology that unlocks human potential. It's a method for building technology that will stand the test of time. And positive product design was originally developed at 15.5 to help unlock human potential at work. And when it comes to human potential, the blueprint for human potential includes 3 main layers. The first is the self, the individual, that's you. The second are other people and our relationships. And the third is the environment. So anything central to human potential can fit into these 3 categories. And at work, companies are responsible for creating the environment that brings out the best in others. Yet only 15% of companies are attracting and retaining candidates well. People are disengaged, they are burned out, and they're making big life moves. And disengagement costs companies serious money. If you're a company of 1,000 employees, the cost of disengagement is $6 million a year. If you have 2,000 employees, the cost is $12 million a year. If you have 10,000 employees, the cost is $60 million a year. So companies need to act fast and unlock high performance and high engagement the right way, the effective way, the way that will have the greatest business impact. And the right way to unlock high performance and high engagement is by increasing thriving at scale. And there are 3 key ways to increasing thriving at work. The first is psychological safety, which is the belief that it's safe to take risks, speak up, ask questions, admit mistakes, and psychological safety is the invisible force behind all high-performing teams. But it's actually quite hard to increase psychological safety at work. So we dove into the literature and we identified evidence-based and actionable ways to increase psych safety in organizations. And we turned those actions into product features so you can increase psychological safety at scale. So the first way to increase psychological safety is through role clarity and clear expectations. Only 50% of people know what's expected of them at work, but when they do, they feel safe to speak up, ask questions, admit mistakes, and this in turn leads to high performance. The second way to increase psychological safety is through strong relationships, specifically between managers and employees. If everyone in your organization knew what was expected of them at work and had incredibly strong relationships with their managers, it'd create a foundation of psychological safety in your organization. And the third way to increase psych safety is through feedback, specifically when managers request feedback from their team. If every manager in your organization requested feedback about themselves from their team, it'd create a tsunami wave of psychological safety in your organization. And the second key to thriving at work is intrinsic motivation. And intrinsic motivation is motivation that comes from within. And when motivation comes from within, high performance will naturally result. So you don't want your people just setting performance goals. You want them setting intrinsically motivated objectives that are energizing, enjoyable, and aligned to their interests. This is how you motivate high performance. And the third key to thriving are strengths. And strengths help people understand what makes them come alive. And when people do work that makes them come alive, they will channel that aliveness productively towards your company mission and vision. You see, the positive product design method builds the latest science into technology, so you just automatically have access, placing tech companies at the forefront of a modern human potential movement that's been building for centuries. Thank you.